Greetings and salutations, this is Rick. I do hope you're having a great day. I thought I'd jump into Guinevere today and we'd head off out somewhere, possibly the ancient forest. So here we are in Guinevere, new camera angle again today. Thanks for the great feedback and comments. It's always great to read through your comments and they do help to shape future videos. And I know some of you have expressed that you prefer to look out of the windscreen than look at my beautiful face when the camera's pointing back at me. So I've stuffed you into the little space between the headrest and the top of the seat. So hopefully you can sort of still see me on the edge of the screen, assuming I have no idea what this footage is going to look like, but hopefully it's going to be somewhere handy. I've got it on super wide, but you get to see what's going on out there as well. That is a very bumpy bit of road. Right, I need to get into this lane because we're heading towards Marlborough, which is where the ancient forest is of Savernake. And I think that's where I'm going to be heading. So we'll aim out there and see what happens. So in regard to some of the topics I've been covering recently, particularly in regard to like the diet and lifestyle stuff, it's been a little bit of a Marmite reception. So some of you are keen to hear what's going on, others not so much, prefer sort of going out and doing other things. And so I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of getting a bit, I'll not say fed up of talking about it, but it's starting to get a bit samey, so I'm going to change things up a little bit. What I'll do for this video is let me just renegotiate this road because I painted new lines and bits on it. I think I need that lane. So hard to tell. Yeah. Yeah, what I'll do for this video, I'll just give you a little update on what's happening with the whole lifestyle thing, and then we'll talk no more about it for a little while, and I'll just check in now and again on that particular subject. So for the next, I don't know, however many minutes, I'll just have a quick natter, a quick update. But if that's not your cup of tea, then if you fast forward to this time index, it will be a new subject and we'll talk about something else. So, update on the health and lifestyle. Had a consultation with the doc yesterday regarding the gallbladder, and in fact they weren't too worried about the gallbladder, but they did want to discuss with me the results of my blood test. And it turns out that there were a few markers that were nodding towards a fatty liver. And it could quite possibly be that this dull ache that I've got going on may not necessarily be all to do with the gallbladder. It may possibly be a bit of a fatty liver issue. Now, in one sense, it's kind of good news because I now know what's going on, although we have actually booked a scan as well. I'm just waiting to hear back on an appointment date for the scan, but that's in the pipeline now, so I will be getting a scan at some point in the very near future. Like I say, just waiting on them to get back to me with a date. But it means I've got something that I can actually physically do something about. So a fatty liver is something that can be dealt with, can be reversed, can be sorted with simple lifestyle changes. I've researched it heavily, although to be honest, it's really difficult to find consistent information. There is so much conflicting information, but I've spent hours and hours trying to figure out what's going to work, what's not. The one consistent thing I kept finding was that a low carbohydrate approach is very much the way forward. You need to stay away from the sugars, you need to stay away from the carbohydrates as best as you can, although some healthier carbohydrates are generally recommended. The other one consistent thing that I did find that was very consistent across all spectrums was saturated fats. You need to dial back on those. Now, I've got a bit of a theory, because at the moment, fatty gallbladder, I don't know whether this has come about as a result of 50 years of abuse, sort of me abusing my body with all the wrong foods, or whether what I've done recently has had anything to do with it. I'm sort of working on it's not even a theory, it's a hypothesis, that perhaps because I lost so much weight so quickly over like the course of 72 days, that is an awful lot of fat to have to work its way through the liver. So I'm wondering if that had something to do with it. I don't know, it's all speculation. If you go to things like the NHS website, they're not particularly clued up on fatty liver and what causes it and how to deal with it. So there's a lot of unknowns, but there is a lot of information out there that does all point towards, if you want to sort out a fatty liver, first of all, you have to lose weight. That is your number one priority. You've got to get that weight down. When you lose the weight, the fatty liver tends to go away. So obviously that's going to be my number one priority, is to lose some weight. I've also worked out what it is that I need to do in the form of what to eat. And I'm still very much sticking with low carb, high fat, but I'm going to swap a lot of the fats out so that I'm dialing right back from the high cholesterol fats and going over to the low cholesterol fats, which are your olive oils and your avocado oils. I'm going to be sourcing a lot more of my meats and proteins through either fatty fish, which seem very, very high up on the priority scale, and leaner meats. So rather than going for that big fatty ribeye, I need to go for like a leaner meat. Now, chicken does seem to be recommended a lot, but I'm not a huge fan of chicken in so much as the omega-6 ratios are higher. So you have to be careful with chicken because, like I said, they're quite high in omega-6s and not so much in omega-3. So it can knock your 3 to 6 ratios out. However, if you are supporting it with fatty fish, which are high in omega-3s, it won't be so bad. I'm also introducing something called sauerkraut, which is a fermented cabbage, and that's going to be really good for the gut. Also introducing some yogurt, which is going to be actual Greek yogurt, not Greek style yogurt, but actual Greek yogurt. Although I'm going for the low fat or the zero fat Greek yogurt. It has zero fat in it, because if you go for the full fat Greek yogurt, it is a saturated fat. So I'm going to go for the 0% fat Greek yogurt. It's still extremely low in carbohydrates, but it's also higher in proteins as well. And I'm also going for something called kimchi, which again is another fermented product. I've got some in the fridge at home to try, assuming I like it. I've never tried it before, but I believe kimchi is a Korean dish, and it's really, really popular in Korea. And I've always fancied trying it, so I'm going to give some of that a little bit of a try later on today. But anyway, it's all in hand, and I'm hoping that this is going to help with things, plus the fact I'm going to aim to lose the weight, carry on losing the weight, but much more slowly than I've been doing in the past. You know, sort of only hopefully a pound or two a week, rather than the sort of pound every day which I was losing when I was doing full-on carnivore. I need to sort of just throttle back from that kind of approach. And then what we've arranged with the doc is in 8 weeks' time, which is like 2 months, I'm going to go for another blood test, and we're going to see what's what from there. So we've got a course of action. Gallbladder scan is going to happen. I think they're going to scan my liver as well, just to see what's going on there. But I need to do what I've just said, with the foods, and hopefully we're going to nip this in the bud before it becomes anything that's, you know, sort of worth worrying about. So that's the plan of action, and I'm not going to talk any more about it. You know, maybe once in a while I'll dip into it and just sort of let you know how it's going, but for the most part I'm just going to get this sort of sorted out in the background. Obviously if any major comes along then I might give it a mention, but that's it. That's as far as we go with the diet and lifestyle. It's all in hand. There is a plan in place and I'm going to be following it, and at some point in the future I'll let you know how that went or how it's going. So let's talk about something else. So welcome back if you've scrubbed forward to this time index, and we'll talk about something else now. But hey, that was amazing that we caught that on video, but we'll keep that between us. So we're just approaching Marlborough, and well, it's just like a tiny little village just outside of Marlborough. Savanack Forest is on the other side of Marlborough. It's an ancient sort of 10,000 plus year old forest, but it's a really nice place to have a little wander around. Even in the winter time, I always feel better for having a little wander around there. Now it is about, I don't know, about 20-minute drive to get there, so it's not a particularly massive ordeal to get there, and I really ought to be going there more often. But it does seem to be the only place nearby where you can go for a walk and not be disturbed by other people. There's plenty of space. I mean, we have got a few country parks in the town where I live, but they're always really busy and you've got to pay for parking, and it's a place where I'm not really that happy about, you know, wandering around with a camera in my face. It's not the best, how can I put it? Let's just say it's not, my hometown is not the best place to wander around with a camera, you know, visible to anybody in the street, because it's likely, I'm not saying like very likely, but it is more likely that you will attract the wrong kind of attention, let's say. And again, that's one of the things that is part of the calculation in whether or not I want to move, because it's not the most, let's just say, not the most welcoming of towns. It does have a certain demographic, let's say, that makes it a place where you need to sort of have your wits about you a little bit. And it's one of the reasons why I don't go out for lots of walks, you know, locally. It's generally okay sort of midweek during the week, you know, daytime. You can generally wander around the area where I live and you're absolutely fine. But let's just say I wouldn't go for a walk of an evening or late, certainly not late at night. And that's another situation that makes me look into the whole idea of moving out, moving house, moving to somewhere a little bit more rural, a little bit more less towny, less you know, or more safe, dare I say that word, less crowded. I generally going along the principle of if you go somewhere that's a little less crowded, you're generally more safe. The you know, the crime rates tend to be lower statistically. But I mean, obviously moving to somewhere rural also has its disadvantages as well. For like inconvenience, you haven't got like the fast internet. If you've got an internet-based business, then obviously, you know, these are things you've all got to weigh up and take into account. Although, from what I'm hearing, you know, fast internet is coming to more and more of the smaller, more rural places. I've got a friend who lives in a very rural little hamlet, and they've just got some like majorly fast broadband installed, so they're quite happy. But all these things to consider. Now, I did bring the little list with me of all the questions I've been asked in the last few videos where people have been asking certain questions, and I thought it might be quite interesting to have a little look through that list and answer some of the questions that people are asking. And one of the questions I got recently was, if you could teleport anywhere in your van, anywhere in the world, where would you go? That for me is a no-brainer, and that's Japan. I would absolutely love to go to Japan. Not necessarily the really busy places like Tokyo, although it kind of might be fun to sort of visit it for a day or two. But I would love to see rural Japan, and just do a little tour around, you know, sort of most of the islands. Maybe drive all the way from the south all the way up to the top and just see everything along the way and stop at little places, and that would just be awesome. But I'd want to take my van with me, and if I could do that, I would do it in a heartbeat. But as you may know, I presume by now you probably know if you watch my channel a lot, I'm not a great traveller. I don't travel that well, and I'm working on it, and you know, sort of slowly trying to push that bubble out. But when you have sort of agoraphobia in your life, it does make travelling difficult. And I'm great in the van, you know, as long as I've got the van with me, I tend to be okay. But I still tend to be a little overcautious with travelling. But it's something it's a programming I've picked up, and it's a programming I've been trying very hard to break. And it just starts with just going out more often, like I'm doing today, like I've done in the last few days over the last sort of week or so. Just go out, you know, even if it's like local trips, just start working on pushing that bubble out, and then just getting a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. I've got a trip planned next week with Alex, and we're going to be pushing the boat out a little bit further and heading out somewhere nice, and that could be fun. Hopefully make a video on that as well. But here we are at the forest. I haven't been here for quite a while, and probably for, I don't know, almost a year. I don't even remember when I made a video last. What's that? Is that a little, I thought that was a little woodpecker, but it's not. It's some sort of finch. Very colourful though. But yeah, here we are in Savernake Forest, the ancient, I think it's like over 10,000 years old, this forest, so it's like a deciduous woodland. Still managed, but like a really good mix of all sorts of trees here. Very pleasant place to be, even in the winter time, obviously on a nice day. But if you go really deep into the forest, you can sort of get away from the road noise. There's two main roads surrounding it. It's quite a large forest, but on either side you've got two kind of A roads, and so you've got that constant sort of noise in the background. But if you time it right and you find a good spot and the wind's in the right direction, it can be really, really quiet here. But I have come out here a few times to do some recordings of, you know, like the wind in the trees during the summertime and everything. But unfortunately, when you've got the headphones on and you've got the microphone going, and you can hear, there's always that constant road noise in the background. So it's a place where you cannot get good, clean audio recordings. Despite trying it several times on several different days in several different weather patterns. Although, obviously, if it's a windy day, then the road noise is drowned out by the sounds of the wind in the leaves. And quite a few of the recordings that we use on the other channel, especially the windy ones, like quite a few of the recordings came from this forest. I've got some great recording equipment, and I come out here sometimes and just get a fresh recording, and it's really good. And now I've actually got capabilities to record in 8D sound, which is like this stereo. Well, it's not even stereoscopic. It's like this three-dimensional sound. And I haven't yet come here in the wind, you know, when the leaves are on the tree. but that is next on my hit list, is to get like a 3-dimensional sound recording of standing in the forest or even walking through the forest. In fact, I'm going to put that on my bucket list this year, this summer. I'll get out here on a weekday. The problem is if you come here on a weekday, the A roads are particularly busy, so the noise is higher. But if you come here on a weekend, then there's lots of people. I mean, it's a Saturday today, although it's pretty quiet at the moment. But obviously, if you come here on a weekend in the summer, it's hard to get parked. Another question was like, tell us about your YouTube journey. You know, why do you have all of these different subjects? And what one of the things is, why do you have lots of subscribers, but your videos only get, you know, a small number of views? And I think what it is because it's like a variety channel, and my entire YouTube career has been based on pointing a camera at whatever it is I happen to be doing at the time. I'm just like, you know, if whatever's of interest at the time, whatever's going on in my life, I'll point a camera at it. It's like a diary. You think of it, instead of writing a diary, you're just kind of making these video logs of, you know, whatever it is you're doing at that time in your life. And it's always interesting to look back, you know, sort of 10 years ago, figure out what it was you were doing, and you can see it because you've got a log of it. But what that means is, if I go on to a new subject, you know, like for example, I did the allotment for 3 or 4 years, and that picked up a lot of viewers, you know, when I was doing my allotment channel. Well, it wasn't an allotment channel, but when I was doing allotments, I picked up a load of allotment interested viewers. But obviously when I moved on to other things, then a lot of the people stayed subscribed, but they don't actually watch the content. So that's basically what happens. And it's been the same with every subject I've ever touched. I'll start making videos on a given subject because that's what I'm into at the time. And I'll pick up a load of new subscribers on that subject. These beautiful little goldfinches everywhere. But yeah, I'll pick up a load of subscribers. Like, for example, when I was doing my carnivore diet, I picked up a load of new people who are interested in, or new subscribers who are interested in the carnivore diet. And now I've sort of moved away from doing actual carnivore for the moment. It does mean that the people who subscribe for carnivore may still stay subscribed to the channel, but if I'm not making videos on the carnivore, then they tend not to watch them. So what happens as a result is you get a large subscriber base, but you only get a small number of people watching the videos, because it's just the mechanics of how it works. And it's, you know, it's not a problem. I'm not really that worried about it. This is just purely my personal interest, kind of hobby channel. I'm not particularly bothered about, you know, how many people watch my videos, although it's always nice to get those higher numbers. And sometimes it's a little bit of fun to see what you can do, to see whether you can, you know, up those numbers. But what I do find quite interesting is about 85% of all the people who watch my videos are not actually subscribed to the channel, which it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand how the mechanics of that works. But if you are not subscribed to the channel, all you got to do is press that little subscribe button, and it just means that if I make a video that you might be interested in, it will flag up on your YouTube feed. And that's, you know, that's it. That's all you got to do. But I don't know whether it helps the channel, whether you've got more subscribers or not. I have no idea how the mechanics of this work. I've never ever really got into the analytics. I don't really look at them. But there we go. So that's my YouTube story. I just point the camera at whatever I'm doing at the time, and that's how a lot of the diety and the lifestyle videos came about, because that's what I was doing. That was what I was focusing heavily on, and so it just kind of made sense to point the camera at it. But it would be good to move on to other things now. But I'm quite happy to just potter at the moment. You know, the people seem to like the pottering at home videos or the pottering about videos. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. I mean, whether I carry on doing those, we'll see. But we'll just take each day as it comes, live in the moment, and I think that's a good way to go about doing things. All right, now one of the places I did like to park was here, but I think I want to go up and have a look at the monument. I haven't been there for a good while. So we'll go up, there's a right turn further up here, assuming they haven't closed it for the winter. We'll go up and we'll have a look at the big, there's got this big monolith sort of down this road, and we can have a look and see the play of things. But it is nice to see a little bit of blue sky and some nice white clouds. But it'll be nice to have just a little wander around the forest. I'm not going to go on a big long hike. Talking of hiking and going for long walks, it may possibly be on the cards. We'll see. I've been chatting with a friend of mine, Sean. He's just recently moved to Wales. And there may possibly be, on a day where I'm feeling a little bit brave, there may possibly be a visit on the cards. That would be good. Whether I go and visit him for the day, maybe stay at a campsite nearby, go visit Sean for the day. I know he was talking about maybe going for a walk somewhere. It would have to be on a good day. Walking is not something I'm massively good at, not because I can't walk, but it's kind of venturing out too far. I get a little bit anxious, get a little bit panicky. So again, that's that old agoraphobia programming that I'm trying to shake off. But you get good days and you get bad days. So on a bad day, generally can't, sort of wander that far. On a good day, I can probably go on a really good long hike. But we'll see nearer the time. But I'm definitely contemplating going and paying Sean a visit in his new house, and going and having a chat. Might be kind of fun. Might be a good day. Right, I think that right turn is here, but they've shut it off. Okay. In which case, I'm going to turn around, and I'm just going to find somewhere to park. I could park here, actually. I don't want to park in front of a gate, although I can park off to one side, actually. That'll be all right. There we go. That's left the gate free. Right, so that was a nice long drive and a natter, and I think this video has probably gone on quite long, so I'm going to sign off here, but I may make a second video where I'm having a little walk in the woods. So I think I'm going to do that. So that's it for this little video. I hope it was of interest to anyone. Oh, I've just realised you can't see me, you can only see my hand. So here I am, hello. But yeah, that was a nice little drive and a natter. How much of this will actually turn into a video, I don't know. But that's it for this video. So thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the day. And I will see you in the next video, which I've got a strong feeling may involve a walk in the woods. So until then, thanks for watching and take care. And also things like the toxins in our lives, the plastics and the things that we get involved in. I mean, a lot of it we can't avoid anymore. Even like you're getting fish from the middle of the ocean, there's still like microplastics and sort of toxic metals and things in them, and but so there are some things you just can't do much about, but you can make some concerted efforts to. Oh, it's dogs. Two dogs having a fight by the sounds of it. Hope it's dogs.